You ready to make some glass?
I'm ready.
You guys ready to learn a little something about glass blowing?
No.
Yeah, sure. Well, all right, someone admit to it. We forgot the sun at home. Because I know one of you guys was from somewhere sunny and left it there. And then coming over here like, I'm here for the rain. Well, welcome to sunny Seattle. It might come out at some point during the day or tomorrow. This is the Julie Garden Glass mobile hot shop. It's our community hot shop. What we are is a mobile hot shop. And hot shop is a universal term for glass blowing studio. What we're going to do is about a 15 to 20 minute demonstration for you guys. Let you guys see how glass blowing works. And I hope you enjoy it. First, I'm going to go through a little bit of safety talk, which takes just a second. Thank you for wearing your mask. Please do so unless you're eating. And so it's been raining, so you know, do your thing. Also, there is this rope right here. Don't go past that. That's our little safety buffer along with this little barrier. In 8 years, this has never happened, but we leave this here just in case. So we warn you that in case a piece of glass or a tool jumps over that barrier onto the ground, please do not reach for it. It could be hot, sharp, or both. I'll take care of it. If I see you going for it, I will swiftly and certainly let you know and get it myself. So, let's get to the glass blowing. Everybody, let's welcome Alana to the stage. Hello. Now, Alana is going to be your gaffer, and gaffer in glass blowing terms is the boss. Alana's the one who's going to be telling me what to do because I'm Alana's assistant, determining the shape, the color, and what we're making. My name's Connor. I'm going to be narrating for you and helping Alana out. So, we have a 1967 Airstream International trailer that's been converted to a fully functioning mobile glass studio. Alana has a 4.5-foot hollow steel blowpipe like a big metal straw. We've heated up the end of it so that it's nice and hot. And what we're going to do is gather glass out of one of our 2 furnaces that's over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit or over 1,100 degrees Celsius. What we're doing is we go in there and we gather that orange goo. And what that is clear molten glass. When glass is hot, it is liquid. It is moving at over 2,000 degrees. I swear that is clear. Once it cools down, it will solidify and turn like window glass and clear as window glass. So we want to make a bubble in this. We want to see the glass blowing, right? So we have solid glass on the end of the pipe. What Alana's doing is rolling it on a steel top table, shaping it up. Then we're going to blow some air in the end of the blowpipe, and then I want you to watch the glass. This is how we get a bubble in the glass, and this is how each piece of blown glass is started. So it's just a little bit of a puff of air, trapping that pressure, and then I want you to watch what's going on. Just turn it over to something. Maybe good. So a little puff of air, watch the glass, almost like magic. Ta-da! Glass blowing, right? You might think that looks like magic, but what that actually is science. It's real. It's here. There's a center for it right there. Look at that as well. That's what we call a starter bubble. Now we've gone from solid to hollow. Now that's enough glass to make maybe a small drinking glass or one of these jars. You want to make larger glass, which we want to show you, we have to gather more material out of the furnace. Now, we build up glass like layers like an onion, as you can imagine. So we have one layer of clear, we're going to get some more, and then we can make a bigger piece. Now, we're going to let this glass cool down. Remember how that was moving, bright orange? Now it's clear and solid. So now it's cool enough to gather more glass. Cool to us is around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That just means it's still really hot, but it's not moving. Inside of this furnace is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, run off of natural gas and forced air. There's a crucible or a ceramic bowl inside of there, holding about 150 pounds of clear molten glass. You're going to see Alana get it out of there. It's about the consistency of warm honey. So you can imagine getting honey out of a jar on one of those honey sticks. If we stop turning, it will fall. So we just turn the pipe all the time. You might wonder how we get color on the glass. Our easiest way of doing it is what Alana's doing here, rolling it through crushed up colored glass called Frit, F-R-I-T. How that works is that hot glass sticks to other hot glass. You roll the molten glass across these glass chips, they superheat and stick to the surface instantly like sprinkles on a sundae. We've gone from clear to now we have this color that is aptly called French vanilla, which is the color that that taller base is on there. And Alana just rolls through there and then it sticks. It's about the consistency of sand. It sticks to the surface. You see how there's that texture on there. If we want to smooth that down, get it hot, or make it so we can put more color on there, we go into our reheating chamber. This furnace over here, 2,300 degrees, a little over 1,200 degrees Celsius. There's no glass in there, it's just a barrel of fire. You go in there, melt the glass down. Are you going to roll through the red?
Yes.
So we're going to go through this mix, which is kind of this orangish red mix. We call it the fire mix. But you'll see a lot of just roll right through there. It sticks. And now we've added color. So remember I said we build it up like layers of an onion. We have 2 layers of clear, a layer of that tan color, French vanilla color, and now a layer of this reddish mix. So we have 4 layers of glass on there. When you're looking at anything in this exhibit, you're looking at least around 90% or more clear glass. Clear is our base. We have over 300 colors we can choose from. And so the clear glass acts like a blank canvas for us. We can add any color we want and other patterns to it. We're not stuck to one color. So that's what we melted there. So that thing's on all the time, holds all our clear glass. This thing we turn on in the morning, turn off at night. That's just the melting chamber. Alana has all the color that we want to put on there. Now we're going to roll the glass through a tool called a block. This guy right here, it looks like a big wet wooden spoon. Smaller version of it here. Why is it wet? Is because what you see coming off of there is going to be mostly steam, not smoke. That steam creates a protective barrier, not allowing the heat to burn the wood and leave ash on the surface of the glass. We're shaping it up so that it blows into a nice even bubble. It's a nice even shape. And now we get to the glass one part. Alana blows air into the pipe and it expands that bubble. Every time we're blowing air into there, you're going to see that bubble start to grow. Now, traditionally, you saw how Alana puts the mouth on the blowpipe, blows it up. If I was blowing glass like you see in videos, I'd be leaning down, blowing into the blowpipe. This mask prevents that, so now we have this tool called a little puffer guy. So we're going to be using that. You see that when I blow glass. Now, the tip of the bubble is always the hottest part of the bubble. It's the first part into the furnace and last part out every time we go in there. We want to inflate the part closest to the blowpipe first. So Alana's cooling the front down, condensing the glass, telling it where we don't want it to expand. We've chilled it up there, thickened it. We want it to expand at the blowpipe first. Right? So we go from the back to the front when we blow the glass. That steel blowpipe is constantly robbing heat out of the material. It cools down faster than the glass does. We can always expand that glass later if we want to heat up the tip. Now this tool I'm heating up for Alana is called the Jax. It's a steel bladed shaping tool. And it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife for glass blowers. We can use these blades to shape and cut into the glass. The back can be used like a paddle, and this little notch in here for afterward pops it off of those glass adult beverages very easily. So Alana's going to do what we call carving in a neckline. Holding the glass down is a way to use gravity as a tool. We're letting the glass stretch. Now I'm going to inflate the glass with this little thing. That constriction that Alana's putting in there is called the neckline, and that is not a decoration, it's actually functional. Every piece of glass has to have a way to break off of the blowpipe, or else you can't get off of it, right? You have to have a little score mark. Now this tool here is very high tech. You see we have wooden spoons, metal blades, and the Seattle Times newspaper folded 7 sheets, folded into thirds, folded into thirds again. You get it wet. You can even see the print in there a little bit. But you can go in there and the steam layer protects your hand. Alana's just going to cool the glass and squeeze it where needed. And we can use that as a shaping tool. Again, holding it down to stretch the glass. I'll use this to inflate the glass.
Look. Oh.
And I can actually talk while I'm doing it as opposed to going down there and not being able to, even though I was quiet. Busy listening. So if you're looking at the tip of Alana's bubble, the tip of the bubble is going to be the foot of the vase. So you're looking at this vase here. This is the tip of the bubble. The blowpipe's coming out here. So at the halfway point, once we make a flat spot for it to sit, we have to attach another steel rod to the end, break it off from that constriction, and it gains us access to the open part of the vessel, the hollow part. So Alana, again, using that newspaper, cooling the glass down where we don't want it to expand.
Oh, like, I understood.
All right. So every once in a while, we have to go all the way inside of this reheating chamber. That's called a flash. What that is the maintenance heat. At any point while we're making this piece of glass, if it drops under 900 Fahrenheit or 500 Celsius, it'll just shatter. Thermal shock. So if you ever taken a hot glass out of a dishwasher, pour ice water in it and it breaks, same idea, except at extreme temperatures. So anytime this drops below that temperature, it'll break. We know to go in there and heat it up a little bit. So every once in a while, we'll go inside of there all the way and then heat up the very tip where we want to melt the glass. Alana's using that wooden paddle, making a flat spot. If my hand wasn't keeping the pressure inside the pipe, that smoke and pressure would actually kick the bottom in like the bottom of a wine bottle, right? It would have that little dip. So that keeps it nice and flat. Baby?
Little puff.
That thing.
Good. Okie dokie, I'm ready.
All right. So we've reached the halfway point. We've made the bottom half of the base. Now we have to transfer it onto this rod here. This is called a punty rod, P-U-N-T-Y. It's just solid steel, it's not hollow like Alana's flow pipe. Alana's going to maintain that at least 900 or 1,000 degree temperature. I'm going to gather some clear glass at the end of this pipe and shape it up. Now this little bit of clear glass, when it's the right shape and temperature, is going to act like glue. And remember, the hot glass sticks to other hot glass, so that when we touch it on there, it instantly will adhere to the bottom. This process is also where bad things can happen. This is where we can find out if we've been doing things wrong. It could shatter and fall to the ground if our timing's not right. So if that happens, and it falls to the ground, we should still give Alana a big round of applause, because we're trying to do this properly in the rain. But if it makes it, we should give Alana a bigger round of applause, because that just means that we've done everything right. So let's time this. I'm just about there. Aiming for center, you'll see Alana sticks it to the bottom, and it's stuck right on there. Now, well, I mean, thanks for the applause, but we got to break it off of there. That was the easy part.
Yeah, you got to catch it.
Yeah, I got to catch it. I got to not drop it. So a little drop of water. We'll crack the glass a little bit, and a light tap. Just like that. There it is. Nicely done. Alana hasn't broken it yet. That's good. And thank you for the applause. Just so you know, Alana really thrives on positive reinforcement. So that way we know you're learning and having a good time, even standing in the rain. So we flipped it around. If you've ever done ceramics, thrown clay on a potter's wheel, first thing you do is center the clay on that wheel so it's not flopping around. That's what Alana's doing here horizontally instead of vertically. So while that heat's in there, we have a few seconds to get it nice and centered. Then we want it to freeze, and we can heat up the very tip. Now what?
I'm just going to trim it and open it.
Okay. Perfect. So when Alana squeezed that neck down to make that breakoff point, it actually condenses the glass. It makes it thick at the top. So if we want a nice thin lip, kind of like these over here, it's a nice thin, thicker up bottom, thin at the top, as fine craft would dictate. What we want to do is superheat the front. Now, the hotter the glass is, the more orange it'll glow. So when Alana comes back to the bench, it's going to be a lot more orange glowing on the tip. That's a visual key to glass blowers, that the glass is hot and soft. When Alana comes over, we're going to grab these tweezers. We all know how to use these. You squeeze them. And these scissors. Most of us know how to use these, right? So we're going to pinch the hot material and pull it, and then trim the excess material off, thinning that lip out. Now, Alana has been blowing glass for about 13 years now. It's going to make it look very easy. Now, this is one of the hardest things to figure out, because your left hand holding the pipe is going to be your driver or your motor, and your driving hand. The right hand is the tooling hand, so everything has to be done just right. Each little pinch pulls and thins the material out. Grab the shears, quickly cutting the excess off. Just like that, you can see what 13 years can get you, a nice straight lip. So now we want to open the vessel. We thin that out. And you might wonder, hey, do we burn ourselves a lot? You know, we're up here around fire, or around this hot glass. Sometimes, I mean, you learn, it's kind of like being a chef or a cook in the kitchen. You learn very quickly how not to burn yourself. Well, you would think that the glass is what we burn ourselves on the most, but it's not. There's two things that we mostly burn ourselves on. That's the hot steel touching the glass to the tools, not paying attention, grabbing the glass, or radiant heat, the heat coming off the material, having your hand right next to around 1200 or 1400 degrees. So right here, what I'm doing, I have two jobs. I'm flattening the lip with the paddle, and then also shielding Alana's hand from that heat. Now, using this tool is our last chance to blow air into the piece. Now, we're not on blowpipe anymore, so there's no way to do that except with this tool called a Sofietta, which is just basically a vent tube with a cone on it. You get everything set up just right, you cram that in there, it makes a seal, you blow hard, and it puffs some air. It's your last chance to actually blow the piece, add volume, or change the shape with air. Now that we've thinned that out, puffed it out, Alana's going to take these jack blades and actually start to coax the lip open. Using these blades, we lubricate it with beeswax, which is here on the bench. So if you see a little smoke or fire coming off of the ends of those, that just shows you that it's hot, but that's what's going on. You can also see the difference in the color. It's glowing a bit more, so we know it's nice and molten there. Just like that. That left hand is the motor, right hand the tooling hand, trying to get everything nice and straight. I'm protecting Alana's hand and arm from the radiant heat, because my fingers are getting hot, so I know Alana's arm would be getting hot. Nice stuff right there.
Okay.
Just like that, one shot, Alana opens that vase up, and now we can see what we've got. What do you guys think? Very nice shape.
Okay.
So when we're done, remember if it drops under 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 500 Celsius, it'll shatter from thermal shock. So we don't just break it off and set it on the table and let you guys watch it cool down. It is cool to watch, but it'll just shatter, it'll just break. So when we want to keep it, what we do is every piece of glass is set inside of this oven here, called an annealing oven. That sits at 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 500 Celsius. And what that does, 900 Fahrenheit is a pausing temperature for our glass. It's hot enough for it not to break, and cold enough for it not to melt or move.
Oh, we turn that thingy on?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
And so Alana's regulating the temperature because that's the coldest part of the vessel. We want to add a little extra heat with some modern technology, fire in a can from Home Depot. We could melt that or heat that glass up. Now when we break the piece off, Alana's going to do what we did when we transferred it onto the pipe. A little drop of water from the tweezers at the connection point causes little cracks. I want you to listen to how hard we hit the pipe. It's not the force of the hit that breaks it off of there. It's the vibrations like a tuning fork. So we hold it lightly and hit it. The vibrations go up and cause that crack to form a circle around the connection point and it breaks off. I'm going to use another high-tech tool called a snip. And I'm going to use this to catch the piece and put it inside of there. Sometimes when you're making the big stuff like Chihuli's work, they have Kevlar gloves and big suits. And I'm not going to put that on because I'm all planning for being out here in the rain. So, using this guy. Alana's going to take a little drop of water, causing those little cracks. I take this ancient technology, and I tap, and it breaks off. So, when glass breaks its sharp, we don't want to cut ourselves in the morning, so we have a tool called an oxygen propane torch. And we can melt down those little sharp parts so it's safe in the morning. I am going to set this inside of our annealing oven right over here, where it will sit and cool down overnight. And just like that, let's give Alana a nice big round of applause. That is some glass flow. So thanks for hanging out with us. I just want to say one more thing now. We are called the Community Hot Shop. We are an educational platform. We're not making Chihuli's work. We're not even making our own artwork. We're just showing you functional wear, showing you how glass works. Now, we're called the Community Hot Shop because we give back to the Seattle and the Pacific Northwest art community and youth and senior community. And there's over, almost 50 different organizations that we give back to. So every single piece of blown glass that we make goes over to the Space Needle Lower Gift Shop under the Community Hot Shop name. If you ever wanted to own a piece of glass, go over there. They're reasonably priced. 100% of the proceeds go to these different organizations that we donate to. And enjoy yourself. Stay dry and get home safe. Thanks, guys.